two public comments. I'm sorry, one public comment. Grant Hennig. Grant, do I need to read the rules for public comment, or do you know them already?
I know that.
Okay, sir.
I'm not addressing any particular person. Good evening. Once again, thank you for all y'all do as public servants and serving as council and mayor. I'm a little bit shocked by your vote just then, and I hope you don't vote that way on this next item. It's shocking to me that you could talk about the sesquicentennial birthday party for the city, and Ms. Cartwright talk about inviting 90-plus-year-old people to the birthday founders event. And this Ms. Lundgren is 91 years old, has lived here her entire life. And I talked to her yesterday, and she has hired an attorney, and there has been negotiations back and forth. But 119, if that is the correct number that they're asking for, y'all can decide on that as well. Y'all can decide on to pay her what her land is worth, what she thinks is worth. A 91-year-old Elginite that has been here for 91 years, longer than any of us. So I ask you not to take an Elginite's land. This is her cattle land. She has heifers on it. She has a tank. The city will be taking her tank, the water source for her heifers. She makes money off this land, a little bit different than these other residents, that it's just the front 25 feet deep of their land. This is actually a moneymaker, ag land for her. I beg you, all of you, to vote no to take her land. I do vote, or ask you to vote, to pay what she thinks is worth. If she says 119, y'all can agree with that as well. But I can't believe that we can talk about taking a resident's land who we're fixing to celebrate. I mean, I would imagine the majority of this room agrees with that statement. But please take that into consideration, and please vote no on this next item. Thank you.
Thank you, Grant. Okay, let me read item number 10. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Elgin, Texas, determining the public need and necessity for the acquisition of certain property and authorizing the city's attorney to file proceedings in eminent domain to acquire said property interest. Parcel 6, Lundgren.
Thank you, Mayor. This is obviously the biggest parcel. It's at the far northern end of County Line Road to the city limits. In this case, the landowner does have legal counsel that is negotiating with the city, and once again, a number of things were said just now that are completely wrong. But because this owner is represented by legal counsel, I don't think it's appropriate for me to get into the details in this situation. We've offered the appraised value. We've increased that offer. Where we're at on this project, I think, is on this particular acquisition is very typical for an acquisition like this, and we're just kind of going back and forth on the price. I'm optimistic that on this one that it won't end up in court, but again, we need this action tonight to move forward with the project.
So it seems like, and I gather we've had recent conversations with Ms. Lundgren? Okay, so it seems like.
Well, with her attorney. Yes.
With her attorney, okay, yes. So it seems like the question is not, is she willing to give up that 25-foot strip? The question is, how much does she want for that 25-foot strip? Do you agree, counsel? That's what we're talking about? It's not a matter, from what I understand, and somebody can correct me, it's not a matter of the member saying, no, I don't want to give up my land. Would that be fair?
Well, I think it's fair to say that all the landowners understand the city has this authority to take the land. And in this particular case, again, it's 25 feet of cow pasture, as was said, and It'll dramatically upgrade and improve the property values and developability of all the property out there. It'll clearly be a benefit for folks, and I think it's a good example of we have one property owner, one tract of land that could indefinitely delay this project beyond the many months we've delayed it already. We went through unnecessary delays last year on this project, and it just continues to push us further behind on this roadway that we need for the community at large. So, but yes, I guess I would say, Mayor, the question is, we're just down to negotiating price. It's not a question of whether the owner recognizes that we need the property, that's for a good cause, and that we have the ability to take it. That's why I think there's a good chance that we'll negotiate a good price. But since it was said, and we showed earlier tonight, the appraised value on this property is $80,000. At $120,000, that's 50% over the appraised value. I'm pretty sure that some people here, if they heard we paid 50% over the value of anything, that we would definitely hear criticism that way. So we're just trying to, as with all these cases, manage appropriately the city's assets. So I think there's a chance we'll work this one out. But again, we need this action tonight to push the issue forward across the finish line, I guess.
Tom, I have a quick question. Sure. Is there, based on the discussion tonight with the other parcels, is there any wiggle room beyond tonight, say, by end of this week or even by end of the month, any wiggle room to go back to the attorney to share details of tonight, basically showing that we've approved the other parcels and that this one's still pending? In other words, give them another opportunity to take in most recent information to consider before we proceed with potential next step of
well, I would say that, if I'm understanding your question, remember, we're not having another council meeting for 3 weeks now, because there's 5 Tuesdays in March. I'll just say that the legal counsel spoke today about the fact that this action would be pending tonight. So, and I would also say too, we've tried to be fair and treat everybody the same out there. And who knows how the other owners would have responded if we would have let any one of them hold up the project as well. We shouldn't make decisions on who the person is that owns the property. This is a business issue for the city. We have to have this property to build this project, and so it really shouldn't matter who the owner is if we're treating everybody fairly and treating everybody the same, which is exactly what we've done. I don't think there's any reason to delay this action tonight, just like there was no reason to delay any of the others.
Okay, council, any other questions or comments?
I'd like to hear from the rest of council members, see if they have any other comments or questions. Help guide our decision.
As much as that road needs to be done, and as long as we've worked on it, and knowing that we have staff who is still negotiating, I'm leaning, and I don't need your help. Thank you. I don't, it's hard. I don't want to hold up the process. Because as has been stated more than once, just because we do this doesn't mean the negotiating stops.
I think better said that That doesn't mean that we go down and file this tomorrow, is that correct?
That's correct.
I mean, we have, until we feel like we've come to the end of the rope to file the claim, right?
And look, I'd say too, again, there's different people, different landowners from different socioeconomic backgrounds, different locations that are all affected by this.
Mm-hmm.
And as we've talked tonight, most of them have agreed to support the project. I know that her legal representative knows that the council is considering this action tonight. If we pause on it, then I think we're going to send a message to them that they're in control. And the other part is, I guess, as said, the council could pay, direct us to pay whatever amount they want. It's just my position, I wouldn't pay 50% over the appraised value for any property. That makes it fairly simple math for me. So I just caution council about if we send the message that we're not going to act on this until the property owner is satisfied, I don't know if that sends the wrong message as well.
Tom, I wanted to add another comment that, you know, this whole area as well as other areas in the future, I think our decision tonight definitely should be based on a business decision as you described, but it also helps sort of set a precedent. This won't be the last time that this council will probably need to make decisions, business decisions, for the sake of moving ahead with this particular project, which needs to get started yesterday, right? So with that said, I'd like to make a motion to approve item number 10 under new business.
I'd like to make a comment before, we make that, can I make that comment before the motion?
You get a second and you can comment.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay. The one thing that's important to me in this thing is that we're not questioning whether the landowner wants to keep the land. And that's not the question. The question is, how much money are we going to pay for the land and that the landowner is willing to sell it for? And that makes a big difference. It's not somebody saying, I'm not giving up an inch of my property. They're not saying that. They're saying, I'm giving up this inch of property, but I want you to pay this much. So to me, that makes a big difference. And I wanted to make that point before we make the vote. I'm sorry.
Mayor, could I just add one more thing too? Jessica's comment is well said. It's important to remember that, as shown in this map, the vast majority of this right-of-way on the Phase 1 project was donated by the developers of Peppergrass, Harvest Ridge, Homestead, and Eagles Landing, and now the school district. So this is a relatively small amount of right-of-way that we're acquiring. As we go on to Phase 1, or Phase 2 of County Line Road, working from 290 back, there's virtually none of that right-of-way that we own today. So that's going to be a huge part of that phase of the project, of acquiring that right-of-way. And Councilmember Vega is right. I think where we stand today, I think it will almost certainly involve some of this same action, maybe in a bigger way for that land. So really, as this goes, as this whole project goes, we'll probably look back on this and see this as the simplest one that we did.
Okay, motion's been made by Councilmember Vega.
May I say one more thing
Okay.
in response to what you said? I agree that it seems that they're willing to sell the property to the city. We're settling, we're working on price now. I think this prevents us from getting into a bidding war to where the price goes up and up and up. And at some point in time, this gives the city manager the authority to put a stop to the bidding.
Okay.
Just one more comment. I just wanted to kind of piggyback off of what everyone else was saying too. And the fact that this doesn't stop the negotiation, but kind of, I know we're given the authority to go the route of eminent domain, but what does that negotiation look like? Like, I know we can't talk too much about it because it's illegal, but what commitment can we get that we're still gonna do the best for the citizen? Like, what is that? look
Just the
like?
same
I'm pretty
thing
sure
we're-
we just give it away.
We're talking every day. Like I said, our attorney talked with this owner's attorney just today, and so, yeah, it's just as the mayor's described. It's
Not that she doesn't want to give it up, it's all
we're
about.
debating what the proper number should be. And as I showed earlier, we're $40,000 apart right now, and so this message, I think, will tell the owner that, send the message that we're serious and we can't wait any longer and have to move forward. But those conversations can take place daily until we get a purchase agreement.
Matthew, did you want to say anything?
No?
I forget who made the motion.
I made the motion.
Okay. Motion has been made by Councilmember Vega, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Brazier to pass item number 10 under new business as presented and discussed. Start the vote with Councilmember Vega.
Vega, yes.
Gibson, yes?
Callahan, no.
Dennis, yes?
Frazier, yes.
Ramirez, yes. Motion passes.